what do you think about the fight, Crawford-Mayweather? He says it's going to be a good fight. Think the winner should get Canelo?
Sir.
We're saying about them right now.
I'm sure that both of you guys are chasing one fighter. If y'all feel like y'all chasing him and y'all can't get that fighter, then y'all should say, fuck it, we'll fight each other.
Damn, that's crazy.
Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford had a joint interview with a reputable news channel recently where they were both questioned on several topics, including who was the best boxer between the pair and who would win a hypothetical bout between Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. Of course, you don't expect either of them to give in so easily, as Floyd Mayweather had in times past referred to himself as the best ever.
I'm going to fight Canelo, and I know that, Terence Crawford has been trying to fight Canelo. They've both been trying to get that fight done. And it seems like both have been trying to get it done extremely bad. Now, if you can't get it done, then make you guys fight.
Floyd.
Congratulations, man.
And while Terence Crawford really doesn't do much of that, he's graced interviews severally where he claimed there was no one that would get into the ring with him that he wouldn't defeat, including Floyd Mayweather. Well, he has also claimed he's never had to think about a fight between him and Floyd Mayweather, as he sees Mayweather as an idol and would give him the respect he deserves. However, Floyd quickly turned the argument into a real challenge, telling Crawford to test his abilities out in the ring. Bud, you and I can get in there and settle it once and for all.
Is up, bro. Keep it a stack. Did you in your head size up Floyd? Like, you know what I'm saying? If we was ever keep it real, bud. Keep it real.
I'm never that type of guy.
The Terence Crawford position, is it time for him to move up?
Wait. I think when he was like, I'm really super skillful fighter, very talented fighter. And I talked about that, a while back. And I thought about this, if he wanted to go to 168 and he want to fight Canelo bad and Benavidez want to fight Canelo bad, if they can't get Canelo, they can fight each other. Benavidez.
Terence Crawford, on the other hand, doesn't sound like he fancies the idea so much, as he's locked in on getting the Canelo-Alvarez fight, a fight he's been calling out for over a year. His only motivation is to bury the debate as to whether he can thrive in a fight against Floyd Mayweather. And his coach also seems quite motivated about this, too.
You ever had the Floyd Mayweather, his era. But July 29th, I'm going to show each and every one of y'all why. This era is the Terence Crawford era. So y'all can witness great.
Asked on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast how he would do against Mayweather, Crawford didn't hesitate to back himself. Me versus anybody. Crawford's trainer Brian Bomack McIntyre shares the same prediction, though he admits he is, like Crawford, biased. There are two things. For one, Crawford is like my son, so I'm gonna always go with him. Terence has that dog in him. Terence didn't get to where he is now overnight. It's taken years and years.
So if he was pound for pound, Floyd was pound for pound. You or Floyd, who would have done that? Who would have won that?
But if you put Bud in there in his prime with Mayweather in his prime, then of course Mayweather is going to be the smarter one. But I think Bud will have more dog in him. Whether or not Bud could break the famed defenses of Mayweather down will always be debated. The more realistic one for him right now is the fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez.
Always been happy for him, been a fan of his, and I never imagined us fighting. Yeah. I never looked at him like, man.
Floyd feels Crawford should dump the idea of fighting Canelo Alvarez and fight him instead. It was in the midst of this, Floyd spoke about his encounter with Canelo Alvarez and how he's a very easy option when compared to him. However, it seems clear as to why Floyd Mayweather wants Crawford to overlook Canelo Alvarez and fight him instead. Arguably, the two biggest names in boxing will meet later this year when Canelo and Crawford go head-to-head in September. It was a turbulent few weeks getting the fight over the line, with Canelo nearly opting to face YouTuber-turned-boxer Jake Paul at one stage before the fight with Bud was sealed at the 11th hour. The whole boxing world is already talking about the clash, debating whether Crawford will have what it takes to move up 2 weight divisions and dethrone Canelo. One man who has previously had plenty to say about both fighters is Mayweather, the boxing legend who retired with a perfect record of 50-0 back in 2017. Mayweather famously fought Alvarez in 2013, handing the Mexican superstar his first professional defeat, whilst he has also been a long-term admirer of his fellow countryman Crawford. With that in mind, he has offered his thoughts on both men, once telling Fight Hype just what he thought of Canelo. It is a stark contrast to what he once said about Crawford, previously stating that he felt Bud was top of the pound-for-pound list. As of right now, I'd put Terence Crawford as number 1. It will become clear later this year just whether Mayweather's assessment is accurate, with Bud potentially having the chance to become undisputed at 168 pounds if Alvarez can first defeat IBF champion William Skull in May. Mayweather fought Canelo in a World Boxing Council and World Boxing Association light middleweight title showdown in September 2013. It was the 45th contest of the American's glittering career. Coming up against the young Mexican who was facing his toughest challenge to date, it was seen as a tough test for Mayweather heading in, but it turned out to be a one-sided affair, as the American claimed the victory on points, even if the scorecards had it much closer than most boxing fans.
When I fought Canelo, I was 36, and Canelo was 23, around the same age. Some of these guys won world titles and was undisputed champion, I think.
Money dominated the fight throughout, using his skills and expertise to outclass Canelo over 12 rounds to claim a majority decision victory. Despite being the clear winner at the end of the contest, Judge C.J. Ross scored it 114, which baffled many of those in attendance, including Mayweather. Speaking to Fight Hype, the 47-year-old did not hold back when talking about Canelo's boxing ability, initially summing up in 3 words how the fight went. "He was nothing!" Mayweather then explained further what he thinks of the Mexican's ability. "You can take a guy like Canelo. I'll tell the truth about Canelo. The idiot was easy. A cakewalk easy. You're all praising this dude. He was nothing. I was almost 40 and I cooked this dude. Easily."
Easy, man. Cakewalk, that's easy. Y'all sitting up here, y'all praising this dude was nothing. I was almost 40 years old when I cooked this dude.
Sometimes as a counterpunch, you get help.
Easy.
Mayweather retired just a few years later, but over a decade on, Canelo remains one of the biggest names in boxing, securing world titles at middleweight, super middleweight, and light heavyweight, and even becoming undisputed in the 168-pound weight class. After tasting defeat for the first time against Mayweather, Canelo went on to win his next 15 fights, winning world titles at middleweight, super middleweight, and light heavyweight in the process. He now looks set to take part in another huge boxing clash, with a clash against fellow pound-for-pound great Crawford, believed to be agreed for later in the year.
The tank age, the young low champions. Canelo was 23 with 43 fights and 30 knockouts.
Some observers believe the weight difference could be too much for Crawford, who would be jumping up from 154 pounds to 168 pounds for the fight, having only competed once in the super welterweight division. Due to Canelo being a naturally much bigger man than Crawford, many feel that it could result in a big knockout win for the Mexican, similar to when he took on a much smaller opponent in Amir Khan, who had also moved up 2 divisions for the fight. With that in mind, Mayweather gave his verdict on what he thought of Canelo's power following their fight, after he was asked if it concerned him heading into the bout. Not at all.
And the world said he was inexperienced. I was 36 with 40-something fights. And to tell you the truth, I was over the hill. And so when I fight guys, when I'm in my 30s and they're in their 30s, you know what they say?
What's that?
Oh, this guy all washed up.
He then said in the ring it was nothing he hadn't felt before. "It's nothing I have never felt before after being in the sport for over 20 years. Mayweather's comments may give Crawford confidence, especially with Canelo failing to stop his last 5 opponents. Recently, in an interview, Floyd Mayweather brought back memories of his famous fight against Canelo Alvarez at the weight class.
That's gave the sport of boxing their whole life and sacrificed a lot inside that square circle, they should feel that way. So if he feel that way, more power to him. I had one fight, and the fight wasn't actually at a...
I have one fight, and the fight was at a catchweight, but it wasn't my idea. Anyone can hoe online and pull this up. It was an article. So with Canelo, at one time I believe Canelo thought I was scared of him, that I was afraid. So he said Floyd doesn't want to fight me. I'm willing to meet him at 152 or 152.5 pounds. And me, I called his bluff and said, if you want to do it, let's do it at 152 or 152.5. But after, Canelo made the weight. It wasn't like it was a certain clause where he couldn't gain weight. He weighed 152 or 152.5. I think he came in at 168 or close to 170, but I came in at 151 or 152.
Catchweight. It was at a catchweight, but it wasn't my idea. So at one particular time, you guys can, anybody, you can go online and pull this up. It was an article. So with Canelo said, I believe Canelo at one particular time thought I was scared of him.
In an interview with Manuk Akopian, Crawford was asked whether he believes Canelo is still in the peak of his career and stated that the 34-year-old has been holding back over his last couple of outings, but will be his best ever against him. I think Canelo's been holding back a lot in his last couple of fights. I don't think that Canelo's really been as excited to get up for those fights that he's been getting up on. I think he held Munguia. I think he could have done more damage, but the respect that he had for Munguia, he just, really too much didn't want to hurt the kid. I think with Berlanga, it was what it was. He showed a dominant performance against Berlanga, and he just felt like he didn't have to do too much of nothing. I think he's going to be the best Canelo we've seen yet.
I'm not going in there looking to knock Canelo out. Could it happen? Yes, absolutely. When I look at Canelo, he's a smaller, bigger guy moving up in divisions. Being that these big guys is slower, so they might catch him with something, but he might see it at the last moment. They might catch him with a hard shot, but he's able to roll and turn with it.
Before he can turn his attention to Crawford, Canelo is faced with the opportunity of becoming a two-time undisputed champion when he faces International Boxing Federation champion William Skull in Riyadh on May 3rd. The 34-year-old from Mexico is a heavy favorite going into the bout with Skull, who he was originally backed to fight last year before he opted to fight Edgar Berlanga Jr. instead. With these, all Floyd is trying to do is to prepare an exhibition fight for himself this year, making it a habit to get into the ring annually. In his latest one, boxing great Floyd Mayweather Jr. rematched John Gotti III in an exhibition in Mexico City. The rematch between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and John Gotti III included no brawl, just more Mayweather domination and boos. The crowd voiced its displeasure after the 8-round exhibition in Mexico City. There were no knockdowns, no glassy-eyed looks, no staggering. Because the fight was an exhibition, it was not officially scored. But Mayweather, 47, dominated Gotti, 31, the grandson of late crime boss John Gotti.
And that's truly a blessing. But he's a tough competitor, and I take my hat off to him. He want to run it back. We could run it back twice, 3 times. It is what it is.
Mayweather was able to hit Gotti with relative ease and connected plenty, but he never rocked his opponent. The fight played out exactly as many expected, and as the first meeting did, with the boxing great simply being a better fighter. Thankfully, the fight did not end in a brawl, as was the case in their June 2023 meeting. Despite Mayweather clearly dominating the action, no winner was announced due to the fight being an exhibition. Mayweather was cautious to not give Gotti opportunities to do effective work, instead leaning heavily on his jab, followed by straight right hands to control the action. As the rounds ticked by, Gotti was visibly frustrated by Mayweather's standard economic and effective approach to the sweet science. Given the fight was an exhibition featuring 8 two-minute rounds, there was not likely to be any notable result.
I was born to be a fighter. I'm gonna die a fighter at the end of the day. And I done heard it all from every fighter. Every fighter say, well, I got a good left hand, I got a good right hand, I got a good hook. I'm gonna apply pressure. My thing is
this has been a standard approach to exhibition fights since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, with Mayweather only truly bringing his best game in bouts with Japanese kickboxers in fights that would have a result announced at the end. Like his exhibition fights with the likes of Logan Paul, Mayweather was content to carry the fight through the scheduled time for the bout while clearly being the better of the two men in the ring. At the conclusion of the 8th round, there was no winner announced. Mayweather and Gotti embraced after the fight, a stark contrast to the brawl that followed their first bout.
In Arena Ciudad de México.
Throughout his storied professional career, Mayweather had many notable bouts with Mexican superstars. Having held an exhibition on hostile soil, Mayweather was thankful to the crowd. "Mexico City," Mayweather said. "Thanks for coming out. Gotti is tough as nails," Mayweather said after the fight. Mayweather praised Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., who was there as part of the broadcast team, then said, "Mexico City, I love you guys. Thanks for coming out." The fans cheered. The first fight between Mayweather and Gotti in June 2023 ended in a brawl after the referee stopped the fight in the 6th round because of excessive trash talk and holding. Gotti maneuvered around the referee and threw punches at Mayweather, and members of the fighters' camps flooded into the ring as a melee broke out. There were moments of tension Saturday. Gotti grew agitated when the rounds, which were supposed to be 2 minutes, ran long, and Mayweather looked angry when the referee warned him about punches to the back of Gotti's head. In fact, a new referee entered the ring, but it was largely peaceful, more peaceful than the crowd hoped for, seemingly, and it ended with Mayweather and Gotti embracing. "He's my guy," Mayweather said of Gotti, with his arm around his opponent. "But we had to put on a show for the people, and I want to thank Gotti for being a man of his word, and we ran it back twice." Gotti said Mayweather hit hard. "He's still got it," Gotti said. During an in-ring interview after the fight, Mayweather embraced the 62-year-old Chavez. "He's one of the legends I look up to, and he paved the way for me," Mayweather said. "But the two getting into the ring to box, he's older now, and if I do an exhibition with him, it's not going to look good for me," Mayweather said. Earlier this week, Mayweather said he'd been offered a deal for 3 more exhibitions, but provided no additional details.
I've seen it all. I'm there to entertain. You show up and I'm gonna show out.
He visto a todos los rivales a lo largo de mi carrera, los he visto a todos, he vencido a más boxeadores.
"We just got a call about a 3 exhibition deal, and it's a crazy number, so we don't know," Mayweather said. While he hopes to make his exhibition this time against Terence Crawford, it's highly unlikely considering Terence Crawford is set to take on Canelo Alvarez in September. Until Floyd Mayweather and Crawford can finally meet, a matchup between the two boxing legends will only be a hypothetical one, and we can only make guesses on what the outcome of their fight would look like.
Like, you usually don't.
Yes. I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, and so I wanted to kind of understand what your thoughts was about like some of those comments that was made. I think it was about Terence's wife. What, like, in your mind, where?
For his exhibitions, Floyd Mayweather could look out for better and more available options among retired fighters. Besides, he could look to fight YouTube influencers like Jake Paul, with the pair having shown interest in fighting each other in the past. As for Crawford, it's clear that the super middleweight champion is on his way out of the sport, and his final fights will only be him doing his best to cement his already established legacy in competitive fights. Aside from his legacy, Crawford will also be looking to make as much money as he can from the final set of fights, and that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.